Totally fine.
Hello, everybody. Hope you're well today.
Woo!
Was it last month, Matt, that we didn't do a webinar? I think
I believe that is right.
that is true. Yeah. So we're feeling a little bit rusty, but I'm sure we can get back into the swing of it really quickly.
I think we'll manage.
If you have not attended a webinar before, you're in for a treat because we're always a good time. And we always have a lot of really valuable stuff to talk through. So we're really excited today to talk you through a 5-step guide to holiday prep that we put together. And so, if you are not yet using Listing Mirror, I think you'll learn a lot of really valuable information about how the software works and some best practices and things like that, so that when you join, because you will want to after this, that you're ready to go. And if you're already using the software, hopefully these things today are great, either refreshers or brand new things. Also, for business owners or for managers, my hope is that by the end of this webinar, this is something that you'll be able to hand off to your team, be able to kind of, give to someone else and kind of have them watch through this webinar. Or I will also have a handout that I will get delivered to you by email. And when you get that maybe that's something that they could use to go through their Listing Mirror account. So that's kind of what we're hoping for today. Let's start at the beginning. Whoa, sorry about that. So to get us started, I guess I kind of already talked through that. We're going to go through an intro and then we'll talk through our guide. Then there will be Q&A time at the end. And then I'll just talk through a couple upcoming things and ways to get in touch. So my name is Erin. I am COO and co-founder here at Listing Mirror. I especially love doing these webinars because it's a great way for me to stay connected to the product and also for me to stay connected to our client base and kind of measure, the different things that are happening in the industry. I learn a lot from staying connected to you guys. So, and then we have Matt here with us today. Matt is our senior tech support specialist, and he understands Listing Mirror oftentimes better than I do. And also, he's someone that you interact with frequently.
Probably.
If you are someone who submits tickets or submits requests to Listing Mirror. So
very likely.
Yeah, that is who we are. And that is kind of the expertise that we bring to this. Matt has been with the company for over 5 years now. So it's crazy how fast time flies. Okay. Just as a reminder, we have a little bit of a smaller audience today, so it may be kind of quiet. But if you do have any questions, please submit them through the little chat window in the software that we're using here. We will select topics from that Q&A. We will select topics from the chat for the Q&A. Thank you so much for participating. We know that the webinar is way more entertaining and also way more valuable for everyone who's here if questions are submitted through the chat. So we really appreciate that. All right, Matt, you are going to get us started with talking about forecasting. And I don't know, did you want to do a screen share or do you want to just work from this?
Let's do, totally up to you. Here, I can do a screen share real quick. I'll work from this and then I'll show it kind of show it live in action. Yep, so the Perfect. Forecasting. So, I mean, as it, if that terminology is not familiar to you, it's just, it's our software determining how much quantity you need to order of a SKU based on your previous sales. So this works really well when we have months of your sales data in place. We can go back, I believe it goes back 180 days at most. So we can based on your past 6 months how much quantity you need to order for your upcoming time based on how many those have sold over time. The uplift, you'll see in the top right corner of that screenshot. I might as well just go into a screen share right now. Start sharing screen. Yes. Window, this one. Yep, that's the one. I'll zoom in one more time, just so it's a little bigger. Is it dark gray or are you able to see it okay?
Yeah,
Okay,
it looks good
it's
to
just
me.
like it's dark gray to
it.
me for whatever reason. So we're here. So yep. So what we're looking at. Let me back out more. Oh, so you got it at the top. You can base it on how much your previous sales. So like if you had, if you just want to use your sales of the past like 30 days, you're able to set that. No problem. That doesn't really matter to us, based on whatever amount of sales data you want to cover on. And for this is how long you want that quantity that you're about to order, how long you want it to last. So if you want to order quantity enough to last you for the next 8 weeks, you would set it to 8 weeks, appropriately like that. I will set it back to 180 days just so we have some sales data here. This is my own little playground, so I generated some fake data to get some hot sales up in here. So this uplift button, which I think is one of the more important things of forecasting, so you are able to, at 0%, it's not going to change anything. We will order the quantity that you need to last for 8 weeks based on your 180 days of sales, and just just keep it at that. But if with the holidays upcoming, you're going to sell a little bit more. So you can be like, okay, usually during the holidays, I, sell about 25% more than normal. So you can bump it up to that, and the numbers will adjust on the fly based on how much you need. And you can take that all the way up to, I think it goes pretty high, 250%. So if you're going to sell 2.5 times more than you usually do, you're able to uplift that, and it will tell you how much you can see. And for each of these columns, you can see your vendor lead time. So this is especially helpful for those who order from a particular vendor. You are able to add your vendor and along with the vendor catalog to your Listing Mirror account, and you can pull from those and generate purchase orders based on this data. So you can select a few SKUs. You're like, okay, these are the SKUs I need for one particular vendor. I can create a purchase order, and you would send that purchase order off to your vendor. They'd send you the items. And then once you mark them as received in Listing Mirror, Listing Mirror would automatically update your inventory to reflect you receiving that new inventory. Take uplift back.
Another thought with the uplift option is if you're someone who was not with Listing Mirror for the last holiday season, but you used a previous software, or you just have a general idea of how much higher your sales volume is during the holiday season, that might be a way that you're able to kind of tell Listing Mirror, because we don't have that sales data from the previous year. That way you can kind of indicate to us, maybe you've been with us for 3 months, and so for the end of the year, then it needs to be 50% higher, or 250 times higher. It's something like that. So obviously the more data that we have in our system, the better we'll be able to forecast your needed quantity for the future. But uplift is one way that you can kind of a little bit indicate to Listing Mirror what your typical sales volume is based on the previous however many days you've been using the software. So it's kind of just also, it's a way of kind of self-correcting. If you know that for the last 2 months that you've been using Listing Mirror, sales have been a little bit lower than typical, then uplift is kind of another way to use that as well. So hopefully all of that kind of helps explain how forecasting can be used. And Matt mentioned the vendor catalog, all of that stuff. If you are doing inventory syncing with Listing Mirror, you should have access to that in your account. It is under the inventory dropdown, I believe.
Yeah, your vendors right here, purchase
so you can
orders,
set up your vendors there.
Forecasting is found right there. Very useful stuff.
Yep. And then when you go to receive, your purchase order will be right on that purchase orders page. You'll just open up that purchase order, and there'll be like very obvious buttons for receiving. As soon as you click received, like Matt mentioned, that quantity will just go to your available quantity in stock on whatever inventory source you've selected. So hopefully all that makes sense.
Even if you don't have a vendor, you can still always just use forecasting as just a general reference. Like even if you don't have, a vendor that you send purchase orders to, maybe you have some other route of acquiring inventory. You could just use this as a general, like, okay, this is telling me I need 33 medium green shirts. And you just use that and order that. But you're able to input a lot of information, such as cost per item, and it will tell you the cost of, what it's going to cost you to order all of these items from your vendor.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think that covers forecasting. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Yes. So let me go back. Okay. So here is our second step. So first step is figure out how much you need to order, get it ordered, get that process started. If you haven't already, which hopefully many of you have, but if not, start
Time's
there.
coming.
Next, number 2 is configure shipping options. So go for it,
Yep.
Matt.
So shipping. So this obviously varies a lot on marketplace by marketplace. So there are some marketplaces such as eBay that have business policies that determine your shipping, and Listmere simply just imports those and assigns it. So shipping is set up directly on eBay. So if you want to change shipping for your eBay listings, you would go into eBay, change your business policies, that kind of thing. Similar to Walmart and Amazon, I think actually most marketplaces at this point wasn't always like this, but I think at this point most shipping is set up direct on the marketplace. It's true for Etsy, it's true for BigCommerce. Shopify, yeah, I think it is all outside of Listmere at this point. But while shipping set outside of Listmere, Listmere still is used to assign shipping to your listings for the most part. I think Etsy might be an exception. Yep. Oh, excuse me. So shipping. So like, yep. One of my bigger recommendations is a lot of people don't like paying for shipping. So a lot of people just bake that into their costs. And so what a lot of people do is during the holiday seasons is they'll adjust their prices and their shipping. So they'll switch to freer shipping, they'll switch to faster shipping, and they'll just bake those costs into the items themselves. And MCF is really...
Yeah, and the other thing...
Go ahead, Erin.
Oh, I'm sorry. The other thing about this option is... faster lead time as well. So that's like a super easy way to kind of advertise to your audience, to your buyers, is just to have a faster turnaround. So I would even recommend, if you can do same day fulfillment, that's amazing. Really push for that.
And yeah, because it's like it's like a way to artificially make your shipping quicker. Like, you're not shipping things, you could still ship at a standard speed, but you're just getting the item to the post office quicker for them to, start the whole process. So it's a way to, it's not artificial because there's still work involved. But if you're able to handle it, yeah, definitely recommend lowering your lead times. Or just switching to MCF. Let's see, do I have... All right, cool. To MCF, and Listmere has the ability to category mapping, and this will kind of involve the second slide as well. But Listmere, you could have orders, you can maintain standard shipping that's displayed on eBay, but when we MCF an order, we send it expedited. So you can just switch over and have Amazon ship your items, and just have Listmere tell them to do that quicker. So the client's ordering standard off eBay, but they get the item within like 2 days because you are using MCF for expedited. You're using Listmere to force the order to be expedited, because Listmere using category mapping, which you can find at the top under orders, order speed mapping. And if you have any questions on it, because it can be a little confusing, because there's a few fields that you will need to set. Mostly shipping service is the big one. Yeah, that middle one. So the top one's your integration, it's which channel you're doing it for. The bottom ones, what shipping speed you want to send Amazon. The middle is the shipping service. So that is, you can find an example of what shipping service would look like is if you go to the order details page of an order. There will be a field called shipping service, and it varies per marketplace. So that's why we don't have a standard drop down for this, because like things, especially for like Shopify or BigCommerce, where you name your shipping speeds, it could be named whatever. So shipping service, so you can go into an order, look at the order details, just copy paste that order, that order service. So like if it's like standard / STD / like, I don't know, USA or whatever, you would put that in the shipping service field, and that's how you would properly order speed map.
Yeah, make sure that you map it exactly as it's written, verbatim. Or it won't work.
Caps, I think, count as
and
well.
Then I think that's true. If you can copy paste, that would probably be the best. And then basically what you're doing is you're just saying, I know that this is typically a standard shipping speed. So let's say, I'm pretty sure something like first class would go through as a standard shipping, in the standard shipping category when the item is sent to Amazon to be filled. But if you want first class to be actually sent to expedited, for instance, then that would be another example where you would select a faster shipping category, even though we would default to the standard. So,
yes.
And you would set up these for each integration where it would apply. And I would say it's probably most common for eBay,
Yep.
right? A lot of people do this
Mm-hmm.
with eBay. And some of that just has to do with how you are, with the fact that you're using MCF to fill, and MCF fulfillment times, you probably saw on the previous slide, MCF fulfillment times, like a standard shipping speed, 3 to 5 business days with two days of lead time. It ends up being, it could be, 7 to 10 actual calendar days, just because of, because of the weekend.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because it does not count the weekend.
or because of a Monday holiday or something, right? Exactly. So just keep that in mind when you're setting up those profiles, that you're mindful of the actual shipping speeds that are that things are shipped at.
Yeah, a lot of people use order speed mapping to get around like a slower lead time on eBay, or a quicker lead time on eBay, but Amazon, they want to MCF it quicker. So setting that just to always do expedited, that means Amazon's going to ship that within 24 hours. So if you have a 1-day lead time on eBay, Amazon's going to hit it every single time.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, and if you've run into anything that seems wonky around shipping speed times, definitely let us know, because if you're an existing client and you're not seeing these displayed properly or as you would expect, then it's likely something to do with shipping speed. Okay, cool. All right, so next we're going to talk about making updates en masse. So basically, once we've got our stuff ordered, then we've configured all of our shipping templates and shipping options to be accurate as well as fast as possible, because those are the two things that people care about. And in addition to your buyers, I'm sure that you are aware that this can also, you're having incorrect shipping speeds can also impact the metrics at which that marketplace is set up. So you want to make sure that they're accurate, so that you're not running into that as well. Okay, so now we're going to talk about, once we've got all of that stuff configured, what does it look like to make sure that the listings themselves that you have in your Listing Mirror account, that you have in your product catalog for Listing Mirror, are in a good position for when this higher sales volume hits, that you're accurately showing what is available from your company, whether this is, updated images or updated, description, or, maybe like if you're setting, there's so many different options, right? And especially if you're currently using Listing Mirror, and maybe you've been using Listing Mirror for several years, it might be a good idea to kind of just refresh the existing data in Listing Mirror, and then updating that data on your non-Amazon marketplaces. So a very common thing is that you have done the work to update your information on Amazon, because that's where a lot of your sales come from. So that's where a lot of your effort goes. And if you've been using Listing Mirror, let's say for 2 years, it's possible we don't have that data on file and we want it there. So what you can do is, I would probably recommend just asking the support team to just do a full import from Amazon of all of your listing data. So that would include anything from images to descriptions to titles, bullet points, anything like that. Get an updated copy of that data inside of your Listing Mirror account to get started with this process. And then once you've done that, you will be able to push those listing updates to your non-Amazon listings from the product catalog. So in this image that Matt put together here, we can see that we have the option of selecting one field. So for instance, the top red arrow here, if you were to click on that specific, in this specific area where this little, I always get confused here, the little yellow square, that little yellow square, if you were to click on that, it would bring up a modal that would just kind of ask you like, well, where do you want to update the title? And then the title, then you would opt to update that for, let's say, for your Shopify store or for your eBay and your Etsy listings, or, you know, anything like that. So that would be a way that you'd be able to update individual items, or sorry, individual fields from Amazon to your other marketplaces. Or if you're like, you know what, I just want to do this in the most simple way possible, and you would just want to do your whole account, push all updated listing data to your marketplaces. There is also a spreadsheet. It is called the Product Edit Spreadsheet, and that spreadsheet has a sheet in it called Actions. The Actions sheet will have a basically like an override true or false drop down. I don't have it pictured here in my slide deck, but I will make sure that that information is in the handout that I send over by email. And so from that spreadsheet, you can update all of the fields on an individual marketplace or on all of the marketplaces, just depending on if you fill out the true false, essentially. So those are the two ways to update your listing data in bulk, to make sure that the most updated content is on the marketplaces for those listings you've already created. Anything else to say about that one?
Yeah,
Matt?
and the product actions, that action, or the product edit sheet, the product edit template, the actions sheet, you do each field individually. So you can force all marketplaces to use the same title, you can force all marketplaces to use the same description, that kind of thing. But it is all marketplaces, unable to be like, hey, focus on eBay and do all eBay titles thing. It would just do a blank, like it forced all marketplaces to use that title or that price or that description or bullet point or images, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. Thanks for clarifying that, because I'm not sure I said that quite right.
No.
Okay, good. All right. So one more thing for updating, making updates en masse. So that would be category mapping. A little bit of context. When you first start using Listing Mirror, we will map categories as well as we can. And our categories are based off of the Amazon category organization. So inside of your Listing Mirror account, there is a page called Category Mapping. For large majority of our sellers, if you're a US seller, if you click on the listings dropdown, you go all the way to the bottom. There's an option for Category Mapping US, it's called.
Yeah.
Or if you're in the UK, or if you're in EU. Yeah. And so each country is mapped separately, just be clear on that. And so for most of our sellers, clicking on the Category Mapping US will bring up a page that looks similar to what you're seeing here on the right. That category mapping will map directly from the Amazon categories to the marketplace categories for individual products. Then there is also an option to repair incomplete listings, is what this one is called. And in fact, Matt, would you actually mind bringing that page up? Because I wish that I would have brought added an image here, but I think that will be helpful for people to see.
My demo
so basically
works.
Okay, hopefully it will.
Start sharing screen. Yes.
So there is the option to repair incomplete listings, and we'll talk about it a little bit more again shortly. But one of the ways that you can repair incomplete listings is for any listings where a category does not exist, any products. So that's outside of your listings. It's your product data. Any products where a category does not exist, you can select a category from this page. So this is a way simpler way to make sure that when you're creating listings, which are based on your product catalog, when you're creating these listings, you're using the most up-to-date data and the most, I would say, like kind of like the most correct data. An example of when this would come in handy is if you have a whole bunch of categories that came in from Amazon that are like a branded category or something like that, where Listing Mirror wasn't able to map it anyway. This would be a good place to check. So if you sell branded items, this might be especially useful. Yep. So then you'll just select your category here, and indicate which products the category will be assigned to. And then once these are all cleaned up, then you know that your whole catalog has categories. So then when you go to create listings, then those should be created properly. So you want to do both. It's a good idea to do both. They kind of live in two different places. Also, please note, Listing Mirror is always updating our category mapping. So if you look this week and you notice that there are 15 or 20 that are not mapped, and then you decide, okay, I'm gonna assign someone to this task, and then you go back in a couple weeks, it's possible that some of those categories would be updated. Not on this page, but on the category mapping page. So just be mindful of that. We are always updating our category mapping, and our goal is for you to not have to map your own categories.
Right.
But just be aware that if you need to, or if you see that some are showing up blank, then those would be the two places.
Yeah,
that you
there'll probably be some blank ones here or there, especially if you have especially if you sell over a wide variety of categories. You're most likely going to have some blankies in there, so you want to fix those up.
Yeah,
that's sure. Because especially before you start creating a bunch of listings, because all listings are going to need a category assigned to them. So just doing the category mapping just kind of gets that out of the way. That said, there are some marketplaces that don't have standardized category, like Shopify and BigCommerce, because those are they're your own marketplace stores, so they don't have standardized categories like eBay or Amazon or Etsy. So the category mapping does not work for those marketplaces.
Yeah, good to know. And for something like that, you would just assign categories on the marketplace. And it's based on different criteria. So, your tags.
Yes, for Shopify, you would set up category rules in Shopify that would be like, if this field is blank, sign it to this category. And then in Listing Mirror, you assign that field the value, and then that gets transferred to Shopify or BigCommerce.
Right.
I think they
absolutely
similarly.
Okay, so after we have done our bulk updates as much as we can, you know what, we've gotten our listings in the best place as possible. Across all of our marketplaces, we've updated our data, we've created new listings, we've updated the catalog as much as we can. That doesn't mean that without any additional work, everything will go live. That's what we would love, and sometimes it happens. But sometimes there's still work that needs to be done. So first of all, please understand that this is a feature, not a bug. So it's very, very important to us that the listings that end up on the marketplace are truly reflective of what you're selling. And so part of that means that we aren't going to fill out data unless we're sure that that's where it goes and that it's the right data. So if there is not a similar field on Amazon as there is on eBay for a specific let's say if it's a hat and it's like hat style or something, and we don't see a field called hat style for Amazon, we're not going to apply the style to the eBay listing because the data just isn't there in the format that we can guarantee that our software, without a human looking at it, can properly do that, right? So we're always getting better at this and always looking to improve these things, and we are constantly making changes to how we create listings for non-Amazon marketplaces. But in cases where fields cannot be filled out, then it's going to be on you to make sure that those fields are filled out properly. So the first place to look is on your dashboard. There is a little counter that tells you exactly how many errors there are in your account. If you just started using Listing Mirror, yours might still have sample data, but for the majority of our sellers, you will see a count of errors on that dashboard. And then if you click on that, then it will bring you to your to the listing page. I would recommend making sure that you're filtering by the errors, which is a very simple thing in that UI. On that listings page, you can just click on the errors. It's a radio button, I think. Just click on that. It'll bring up the listings with errors, so you're very clear on what you're looking at. So from there, how do you get started, and what is the best way to do it? And a question I get a lot is, well, why don't I just do this in bulk? Okay, great idea. But what if every single error that you have is different and there is not a way of like making it faster, right?
Yeah,
Obviously, this is not
it
ideal,
ain't.
but there are cases where you do have to kind of like go in and make changes to individual listings, and each one is different. So what I always recommend is, yes, you can move this into template work, and I would absolutely suggest that in cases where the errors are similar, and the information that you need to fill out on your listings is similar
Yeah.
between marketplaces. But before you do that, start in the UI, start in your listing mirror account to identify the similarities first. Figure out what does it look like. It's way easier to look at a screen and be like, okay, this is the block where my description goes, and this is the block where my price goes, etc. And this is the one
Oh
that's
yes.
blank or whatever. Once you have figured that out, and let's say you do decide like, hey, there's enough data in here that's similar between my listings that I can update these in bulk because all of them are missing type and they're all shoes. And so I can just in a spreadsheet then update type to say loafers, or whatever the type actually is. And so then in that case, once you've worked through a few and you have a better sense of how to do this, then absolutely move to a spreadsheet. Great idea. So the template that you will want to use to do this is Market Listing Core Edit, would be the one I would start with. And then just make sure that you're filtering before you download that template. Make sure that you're filtering by listing status and then error or warning. I think adding both of them is a great idea.
I agree.
That will show up in your spreadsheet in the very right hand column. The actual error will show up, or the actual warning will show up in that column. So you can read the error there. You could even like sort by that error so that you're making sure that you're looking at them all at the same, all those specific errors at the same time, anything like that, so that everything is showing up together.
One note on that: if you
And
do
then
sort by errors, make sure
go for
to
it.
unsort them before you upload in a listing mirror. It can break some stuff. Unless
Yes,
you have all simple
also true.
listings, but like we group SKUs by variation. So if you sort by, I mean, I guess in theory they would remain the same, but unsort them before you upload it again, just to make sure.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend that. Another recommendation is just work on one marketplace at a time.
Definitely.
So don't try to do your whole catalog at the same
Way too
time,
much.
and don't try to do like 5 marketplaces at the same time, because
Oof.
errors differ so much between marketplaces. I would definitely recommend like just tackle eBay
Yep.
for the day, or just tackle Walmart or something like that. Just be very specific about the work that you're doing.
Yeah, you start small, and eventually you'll get done through the. Yeah, 'cause I definitely work with clients that like are trying to download like a spreadsheet for 5,000 SKUs and trying to fix all at once. I'm like, oh my god, that's overwhelming. Even
Yeah.
today, like I wouldn't even do that. Like unless they all have the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
exact error and it's all the same solution. No thanks.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. And you know what? Like, just keep in mind, I'm a business owner too. I know all about like having too much on your plate and just wanting to get things done like super, super fast and super easy. And we, wherever we are able to do that, we're making it as easy as possible for you. But it is worth spending time on this, because like this is the kind of stuff that really could make or break your sales. Is how good are those listings? How much time did you put into them? How strong are those titles? Are the descriptions clear?
Yep.
Things like that, making sure that you're filling out those variation specifics, and make sure that you're filling out, the category specifics as well.
All of those
Make sure
things.
that all of that is really in a good place. And that's why we're talking about this in September, because I mean, you still have a
Plenty
little
of
bit of time.
time.
If you can get this through the end of the month, then starting in October, as sales volume kind of ramps up for the holidays, you'll be ready.
Plenty of time.
All right.
And I
So
think one more or a couple more things to touch on that.
go for it.
So like most of the marketplace errors are straightforward. Like they'll be like UPC is missing or title is too long. For the most part, because we are literally just taking the So when we try to create it on the marketplace will tell us, hey, it's not created for this reason. So we take that reason, copy paste it, and show it in the UI. So those aren't listing mirror errors; those are the marketplace errors. And for the most part, they're usually pretty straightforward. But if they're not, always just hit us up at support. Right? That's what we're here for. Like if an error is confusing, it doesn't make much sense. Like in your bottom right, there's a quick help bubble to click, and you can fill out a ticket, give us the SKU in the marketplace, and we usually help you out. We've seen most errors at this point, over all these years. They don't really come up with new ones for the most part. I mean, sometimes they do, but for the most,
yeah,
every once in a while, throw in some weird stuff. But yeah, if something's confusing, just hit us up in support. We'll help you out.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Matt. Okay, so point number 5 that I want to highlight today is sell on Walmart. So if you are not selling on Walmart, we highly recommend getting an account set up there. If you have not applied yet, please let us know. We would love to get you kind of fast track to get to selling on Walmart. And we have great connections at the Walmart marketplace, and we would love to put you in touch with them and give you a hand just with getting your account through the onboarding process as fast as possible. Listing Mirror can create those test listings that they're going to ask you for, and then you'll be good to go. So we'd love to give you a hand with that. I'll leave some notes at the end so that you know how to get in touch with us for all the stuff that we've been talking about, saying like, just let us know. I'll give you information about how to do that. If you're not using Listing Mirror and you need an assist on selling on Walmart, we can do it. So we have tons of experience getting people set up on Walmart, as well as troubleshooting things that are happening with your Walmart listings that are preventing you from being able to list, or that are preventing or maybe slowing down sales. So we put in a couple notes here about what to kind of keep in mind when you're listing on Walmart. There are things that I've found not a lot of newer Walmart sellers understand as they're getting started. So I just want to make sure to outline them here. The first one is UPC ownership. So your UPC on the Walmart marketplace is what controls, or I shouldn't say your UPC, I should say the UPC is what controls the listing data on walmart.com. It functions, if you're an Amazon seller, it functions just like an ASIN. So an ASIN is, someone was the first person to upload that, and they typically will own the listing data for that particular listing. In Walmart's case, though, there are tons of listings that are sitting with old, outdated data because maybe the seller who originally uploaded the listing is no longer selling on it, or doesn't care too much about the listing data or whatnot. And it also means that occasionally there are UPCs that are on the marketplace that have nothing to do with the listing that you're selling, because whoever originally uploaded that UPC used the incorrect UPC to do the upload. At the beginning, I don't think this is true anymore, but for a long time, Walmart didn't have any checks in place. And so there was nothing to say like, hey, by the way, this isn't actually an iPhone, it's a Dannon yogurt or something like that, which we have seen. That's probably the craziest one I've seen. So that's why this matters so much. So having a UPC is, you have to have a UPC to list, but then also make sure that once your stuff is listed, that it's actually showing up as the right thing on the marketplace, because you may think that's the UPC for that product, or just click the plus sign in Listing Mirror and list it. But if you don't make sure that you go back and check, it's possible that when you fill an order, your buyer is expecting something that you did not ship them, because the UPC that they clicked on, or the listing that they clicked on, is connected to something totally different in your catalog. So just make sure that your listings are what you are selling on the Walmart marketplace once you've configured the listings. And then also some very common errors and warnings that you'll see in Listing Mirror for Walmart is something to do with a SKU override, which is kind of like both of these actually, and product identifier already exists. So SKU override is something that we just handle. There is nothing that Walmart does not need to tell us this. It just kind of happens sometimes. So the proper way of handling this is just to save the listing again. saving a listing. So going into Listing Mirror, clicking on the Walmart listing and clicking save. Just doing that will prompt us to send the listing back to the marketplace and give Walmart another opportunity to accept the listing data as it is, and basically gives Walmart. It basically just tells Walmart, "Hey, look at this again," because it's fine.
Let's do it again,
Walmart. So that's the best way to handle it. You may have to do it 3, 4, 5 times, which is very unfortunate. But if you keep seeing it, just know that there's nothing else that we can do. You just have to keep trying. So just keep clicking the save button. For the second one, product identifier already exists. So this is when, let's say you put up your full catalog and then one of your listings, you see this product identifier already exists. What that means is you're already using the UPC that you have listed on that product is already being used for something else in your Walmart catalog. There's kind of a couple reasons why this might happen, but the most common thing would be, I would say the most common reason I see this is someone who's selling different, maybe like different package sizes of the same thing, or maybe different conditions. I think we're starting to kind of see that a little bit, different conditions of the same thing. Basically, you think that you want to use the same UPC, but Walmart is saying, actually, you can't. So the way to solve that is either to identify that the product you're trying to list that has this error is the one that should have that UPC and then go change the other listing, or it's add a different UPC, which in that case, then you would own the listing data. There's kind of like a whole thing that goes into it. Basically, buy a UPC or somehow get another UPC for that thing so that you can list it on your own. So whoever uploads the UPC first is the listing owner. So that would be my recommendation. Last thing about Walmart is if you have an exemption, so you are a brand owner and you do not have UPCs and you don't need UPCs, if you have that exception from Walmart, what you need to do is add the word custom in all caps to the GTIN field. So not to the UPC field, but to the GTIN field inside of Listing Mirror. You can also do this in a spreadsheet. This is how you tell Walmart that you have that exception on your account. If you don't do this, then the listing will not go because they are looking for that UPC field to be filled out. So fill out GTIN with custom and you should be good to go. Any other Walmart notes?
Yes, actually. So on the note of the UPC you are trying to list, it already exists on Walmart.com and it's under a different product. So Listing Mirror has a tool for that. It's called Mismatched Title Report. Yep. So it's at the top, it'll be under Reports, Walmart Mismatched Titles, the very last one. This will be a list of the SKU, your title in Listing Mirror, and then the marketplace title. And this is being like, hey, the title you're sending doesn't match what Walmart has, and it's not changing what Walmart has, meaning you don't own the UPC. Because similar to ASINs, you add on to the offer. And in those cases, we'll be like, hey, this your title says iPhone, 14, but the marketplace says, Dan and yogurt. So maybe there's some kind of mix up here. And there's two ways to go about that. You either change the UPC you're using to something else that doesn't exist on Walmart.com, or you talk to Walmart and be like, hey, this UPC is for this item, and you need to do a whole what do they call it? UPC.
Is it like just open a case?
Yeah, you would open a case with Walmart support and be like, hey, I can't remember what they called them. They have a word for it. But yeah, you would need to convince them like this is the UPC documentation. And so it's just like a picture of the item along with the barcode in clear view, that kind of fun stuff. I've never gotten back of like, Walmart told me no, and I had to just go do something else. Like, as far as I know, that process works. So.
Yeah, right. So so that is one nice thing is that over time, Walmart has built in some ways of handling those kind of things, handling, like brand ownership and things like that. So there are ways that we can give you a hand if you are in that situation where you need to basically prove that your UPC is the one that you purchased for your branded product, and it's not showing up properly on Listing Mirror, because it probably just means that someone else kind of like stole your UPC, or maybe they purchased it, but purchased it from someone who, was doing something shady. And in that case, then you would just want to tell Walmart, and we can help you through that. We have a bunch of templates and stuff that we can send you, like, hey, this is exactly what to tell Walmart if you need to open a case. So,
and another another point on UPC ownership. So you have a variation listing, right? You sell a green shirt that has small, medium, and large. Let's say you have a unique UPC for each one, but let's say the large UPC is already someone already owns that for their large green T-shirt, so they have already created a listing for the large green T-shirt, that UPC. In Listing Mirror, you group all three as a variation listing, but when you create them on Walmart, the small and the medium will be grouped together, but not with the large, because you don't own the large UPC, so they will create separate listings. So the small and the medium will get bunted off on their own listing, and then your offer will be added onto that existing listing. And I think that confuses the heck out of a lot of people. It did to me for a while until I understood why. But it's that UPC ownership thing. So if you don't own it, you can't make changes to it. And I think you can convince Walmart to make you the UPC owner. I think that's the thing, just providing like, hey, look at my titles, look at my images. They're way better than what they're using. Make me the UPC owner. And as far as I know, like I said before, that process works. I've never had someone come back and be like, they told me to go away. So, as far as I know, it works.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because as far as we understand, like Walmart wants their listing data to be good. So if someone is asking, to update the data to be better than it is, then it's not, they're not out anything, but who knows? Okay. So we are moving on to our Q&A. Thank you so much for bearing with us. I hope that those things were helpful. I see one question here. If you have other questions and you'd like us to go through them, please add them here. We'll make sure to tackle them. So this question is just about like the getting a UPC. Oh, the exception. For Walmart. So in this instance, Jason says he has an exception for Amazon, but not for Walmart, but he has UPCs.
Okay. So if you have the UPCs, you would add them to your product listing and then create them on Walmart. That like it.
Yeah.
Even if like Amazon has exemptions, like Listme doesn't care. You just add those UPCs to the product listing and then create them on Walmart. Or if you've already created them on Walmart, just add the UPC to the Walmart listing. You'll be fine.
Right. Yes. Right. So there is a UPC field on the product, and there's also a UPC field on the Walmart listing. So if you've already created the Walmart listings, I probably would still add it to the product as well if you're not seeing it in your Listing Mirror account. And that spreadsheet, you can use the market listing core edit spreadsheet for Walmart. And then for the product, you would just use product edit. And yeah, we can talk about this in the by email as well, Jason, if you would like to. Oh, okay. Raven actually just sent over some instructions. Perfect. Okay. I'm not seeing any more questions. And like I said, we do have a smaller audience today. So, okay. Question from Michael. I have a lot of videos on Amazon. Are there any plans on importing those into Listing Mirror? We would love to. We do actually have several requests for handling video. So I would say knowing that more people are looking for video support, I think is important. So, just knowing that's something that you're looking for. A lot of it just has to do with what the marketplaces will accept and the differences between the marketplaces, and if we are able to convert, video formats and all of that stuff. So I would say it's definitely in the pipeline. It's not something I imagine we will have ready for the holiday season.
No, I can't imagine.
But correct me if I'm wrong, Matt. Can you just add video directly to a listing, like once you've created it through Listing Mirror?
I think so. Like, I mean, if it's just totally.
Yeah, because it's not a field that we touch, so that means that we won't overwrite it. So if you wanted to add it directly to the marketplace, you could do that.
But if it goes in description, we will overwrite it. I can't remember if videos live in description or they have their own field on the marketplace. Cannot recall.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. This description.
So just keep all those things in mind. Yeah. And then you can always ask us for further details if you're like, hey, I want to add the video here, or this is what the video looks like for reverb or whatnot. Let us know and we can definitely take a look and make sure that nothing crazy will happen if you add it to the listing.
Yeah, you could always just like do a little trial and error. I'm always a big fan of that. Like just go in the marketplace, add it to one listing, go back and listing mirror, resync that. Did it remove? Did it stay? And then you kind of have your answer there. Always a surefire way.
And then you can tell us so that we know, so we can tell other people. Yeah, for sure. Okay, I'm not seeing any more questions, so let's just kind of move into how to get in touch with us. So first things first, if you are not yet selling, if you're not yet on Listing Mirror and everything that we've talked about today really makes you think maybe Listing Mirror could be a good fit for you. Your first stop on the Listing Mirror train will be with Brian, who's running our sales department right now. So this is my co-founder, and you can get in touch with him at sales@listingmirror.com. Ask any questions that you have. Brian is the creator of Listing Mirror, and so he will literally be able to answer any question that you have, and he'll be able to tell you, and he will tell you if Listing Mirror is a good fit for you or not. After that, then you will end up connecting with me and I will help you get your account set up. So you will be back in touch with me, but just on a one-on-one conversation. And in addition to doing onboarding, I also love to meet with existing clients to just kind of talk about either strategizing for a project that you're working on or troubleshooting something that you're running into. Also doing, software training for any new staff, anything like that. And then lastly, if you need like an account refresher, like, hey, I've been using Listing Mirror for 5 years. I really need someone to just run through it with me again. I'm your person for that. So you can email me, Erin. Yes, absolutely. And, through our rebranding and all of that, or maybe your business just functions way differently than it did. So you want to make sure that we're, up to date with that and in compliance with what you're doing on the marketplace.
Yeah, I definitely had conversations with clients where they just didn't even realize you could do X with feature A, just weren't even aware of it.
100%. Yes. Yeah. That happens very, very frequently. And like settings that I may have helped you set up 2 years ago, like maybe they don't make sense anymore. And you don't even know that that's what we're doing because you don't remember because you were new to Listing Mirror. So in cases like that, yeah, I'd especially love to give you a hand to make sure that things are functioning well for you, especially for the holiday season.
Oh, it's coming up quick.
All right. And then lastly, if you know that your question or concern is technical in nature, where you need help fixing something in your account, or you need, specific guidance on how to use a feature, something like that, you can visit us at success.listingmirror.com. Our knowledge base is there. Our training center is there. And then you can also submit requests to the team as well. So this is the best way to let us know that you need a hand with something because it's organized so that the team can find your request really quickly. So that's what I recommend. Please, we don't mind answering your questions, and we would much rather answer your questions than for you to feel like you don't know what's going on and how to use the software. So
what I'm here for.
Yes, exactly. Matt, we like solving tickets in that we really enjoy the like puzzle solving part of it. And it's what keeps our software as good as it is just because we have lots of people that are asking questions and giving us scenarios that are different than the last person. So all those things are good for us. We want to make sure that it's useful for you. All right. So that's all we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thanks for the questions that were submitted. I look forward to talking to you guys next month, and you will see this recording in your email later on this afternoon or first thing tomorrow. Hope you have a good one. Right, and we'll talk to you later. Oh yes, and the handout as well. I'll send that out.
Bye.
All right. Thanks so much, everybody.